I think my favorite thing about synths are the ability to tune it to anything you want. There's so much music out there, and there's so much music that comes out every day. To separate yourself or make something different, I feel like tuning affords the opportunity to do so, at least for me. I like things to sound weird. I don't want them to be run-of-the-mill, so I tend to detune everything down or just tune things off, as opposed to, what the normal kind of tuning that we know and think of. The overall tune is 440. I've read a few articles saying how this isn't the natural tuning of our ears, aren't necessarily in tune with what we're hearing. It should actually be detuned to a little lower. I've always wondered if by doing that with my early releases that is that why people gravitate towards them? Because it touches the ear in a certain way, or I've gotten a little bit more in the center these days. I still do it from time to time. It makes recording a bit tricky when you detune one synth. Some tuning is very difficult to do. It takes a lot of work to get everything working right, but I think the accidents or being slightly off tune is great. I like that characteristic of music. You can really, there's no rules. A very famous part of this synth is the unison. So we will take and open it up. So this is the very simple program here. Very simple program. And we're going to add some unison. It's very thick. It's very, very thick. That is a very famous part of the synth. All the voices playing together, and that's what you get. So when you use unison, we're playing all the notes with one key. All of the voices, I should say, all the voices are playing together. You could have the tuning pretty kind of right down the center here, or we'll open it up. We're going to detune it a little. So we added a little portamento in there with the unison. It's like the early version of a hyper oscillator. I think it's incredible for leads and bass sounds, definitely. So now we're going to take a quick look at Ultrafiche of You, which is one of my personal favorite songs. I have this synth. It's called the Krumar Bit 1. It's a vintage Italian synthesizer. I like to call it the Italian Juno 106. But I really tried to make it shine here. I really think that this song sounds the way it does because of that. And without it, I think it would be a completely different song. I'll play the main melody that I recorded with it, and then I'll play some parts where I basically took recorded bits of the Krumar and I chopped it up and kind of affected it and did some reverse things and some stretch things, and you'll get the gist of it as we go here. So, that's the main melody, and there's some variation as we go through here. There's, this part where it's. So this is the chopped up bits here. So we got a lot of reverse stuff going on. Some, it's literally just the Crumar, some extra samples that I recorded and kind of mashed together to give and kind of create this weird kind of flowing atmosphere. You'll hear this now here. I find myself doing this kind of process a lot in the music that I'm kind of working on these days. Recording parts like this, and then just chopping the tails of each thing off, and of each chord, chopping just the tails off, and then putting it in a new channel and just really kind of making a completely different melody, obviously in the key of the song, but you can really get some interesting results when you just go in here and you can see it's just all small chopped bits. Yeah, I had this idea to do this for a long time, and I thought that this track would be perfect to try it out, because I've always wanted to do it with piano sounds, and this reminded me of this kind of beautiful piano feeling, the Crumar sounds for this song. So I just went for it here. I'd say the Crumar Bit 1 is a little bit difficult to come by. I just remember the first time I saw a picture of one, I definitely wasn't completely sure what it sounded like, but when I saw that synth, it's a beautiful synth. I thought to myself, and I still do every time I walk in the studio and I see that piece of gear, I really want my sound to, be representative of that instrument. I think that's my go-to. It all goes back to me trying to limit my options and force myself to really dive into an instrument and find things that I love about it and process it in strange ways. And if you hear something in a song, and this goes back to kind of doing the research about certain songs or music or albums, whatever you want, and you find an instrument and you figure out what the sound is in a certain track, and you love it enough, just hunt that thing down. And when you find an instrument that inspires you that much and that you're just overwhelmed with excitement about, and that you feel is very rare, it doesn't even have to be rare, but it just feels that way to you, immerse yourself in it and see where you can take it and push it as far as you can, and get as much out of it as you can. It's just, that's really what I try to do with this synth.